I found it really, really interesting that even right now we're seeing that the American dream, with everything that is still going on in America right now, the American dream is still being packaged and sold to so many people overseas and to so many people even in America still. And we have a whole nother place to film. Hey guys, Najee here, welcome back to my channel. So today's really gray. Lighting's different, setup's different. It's a rainy day, I'm off from work, and I figured why not discuss Praise Song for Butterflies by Bernice Mcfadden. I've been meaning to do it since I talked to her and Kim months ago, but just with everything that was happening, there was COVID, and then there was just Black Lives Matters, like all those different things that were happening back to back to back, that it was hard for me knowing that we had had that conversation, like just, you know, three Black women speaking on different things, knowing that we were having that conversation, and then everything kind of just ended up trickling in after that. We were just discussing like Ahmaud Arbery's death, and then it just became like George Floyd happened maybe a week or two after. So it was just like crazy to me that we were sitting here having this conversation, and at that time we had felt like the world was on fire, and we had no idea that that was gonna happen next, obviously. So for me, it was just a lot to like process, like this is really what's always happening to us, this is really what's happening in America, this is really what's happening everywhere. So it took me a while to kind of sit down and be like, okay, let me discuss this book, because this book also has like a lot of reoccurring themes of things that not happen, a lot of reoccurring themes that you guys have seen on my channel. So I actually listened to Praise Song for Butterflies on Audible. I hadn't done this in a while. So because I had to take in her book really, really quickly, I was like, Audible will be great for me. It'll just make it easier for me to listen to while I'm at work. And it was, but Robin Miles needs, I don't know if they give awards for this kind of thing, but she needs all the awards, she needs all the accolades, because when I was listening to this book, she took me there. When she was doing her characters, it didn't come off as, you know, sometimes, especially if we talk about like even like Black Panther, some people's accents are not very good. And those are actors that did Black Panther, and I still have a problem with it, even watching it today. But she really knows how to switch very smoothly in between characters, and also what changes to make. She didn't just do the same accent for all of the female vocals. She didn't do the same thing for all the males. She knew exactly how to make herself sound older or to make herself sound younger. Like it was really, really entertaining to listen to. So if you guys are going to pick up this book, I definitely recommend you also get it on Audible, or that you do get it on Audible. It was really, really, really well done. The first page, you get like a definition of the word trokosi, and it basically lets you know what it is, and I'll put it in here. I know what it means, but I want it to be eloquently explained. Oh, I can just grab my phone. Duh. Tro, meaning deity or fetish, and kosi, meaning female slave. But essentially, you open with that. So as someone who had no idea what the book was about, opening with that was already like a game changer. I was like, what the heck is about to happen here? Like I had no idea what I was in for. So Praise Song for Butterflies, we follow the journey of Abayo, and it's actually very similar to one of my favorite books, actually one of the first books I read by a Black author, and that is Copper Sun by Sharon Draper. That's exactly where it took me. The minute Bernice started to describe the scene, and when I'm listening to the definition of trokosi, I was like, whoa, 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 what do we have here? Because I had no idea what I was getting into. I didn't pick up Praise Song just based on the back like I usually would. I actually just like wanted to listen to Bernice's most recent work for the interview. And a lot of times when we get into the whole slavery thing, I know some people are very tired of that narrative, but the fact of the matter is that it's true. So when I was learning, because the best thing about the way that Praise Song for Butterflies is written is that you are learning while you're reading. And looking at Bernice's other work, a lot of them are historical, a lot of them take you to a time and place where there's something important that you need to know. Personally, while modern fiction is very, very interesting and can be hilarious and can also be relatable, there's something that's very enriching about historical fiction, or something that has to teach me something. So when I'm learning about trokosi, what surprised me the most was that this is happening, I believe it was like the 80s, like the 70s or 80s. I don't mean like 1880s and 70s. I mean 1980s and 1970s. Like, I was shook. Like the next page, it was like New York 2009. And I was like, what are you talking about? This person that survived this could still be alive? Are you kidding me? Like I was shook. Like when I say shook, I mean shook. So essentially we follow Abeo's journey as through her life and we figure out a whole bunch of stuff. I don't want to necessarily give spoilers, but yeah, I want to start with the idea of black on black crime, and then I have a whole bunch of other themes that I want to touch on. So black on black crime does not exist. I don't know how else to say that. But when I was reading Praise Song for Butterflies, that was my first thought. But I was like, why would we write this? Like this is, you know, family business. This is insider stuff. Like I'm glad that I'm reading it and I know about it, but I was like, this is a book that anyone can pick up. And I don't want them to associate it with black people being problematic. Like that's where that was honestly, and I'm being very honest, that was where my mind first went. And then I sat back and thought about it and was like, even though this is black on black crime, and even though this is happening in a small village, and even though this was happening in many countries in Africa, it obviously doesn't make it right, but the same can be said of when you look at the definition of black on black crime, it's the same thing. It's just about people being in an area where they're the majority. And then crime just happens. It's just regular crime. So something like this that was happening, I was like, I had no idea that this was happening and that these girls need to be freed as recently as the 90s. As recently, I believe if you Google it, if you Google the word Trokosi, it's still happening. There were articles from like last year on it. It's still happening. So to me, I was also like, wow, this is something that's really important because at the same time, Trokosi emerged from slavery. So this is something, we learned it from you.
Do what you say. This country is supposed to be about the land of the free for all. It has not been free for black people, and we are tired. Don't talk to us about looting. Y'all are the looters. America has looted black people. America looted the Native Americans when they first came here. So looting is what you do. We learned it from you. We learned violence from you. We learned violence from you. The violence was what we learned from you. So if you want us to do better, then damn it, you do better.
We learned slavery from you. We learned all of those things from you. It is true. Like that is where we got it from. And then we took it as, you know, especially when you're in like any neighborhood, any place, they took it and basically they took it as a means of power and as a sign of power. And that's what they thought they needed to do. So Abeo, we follow her journey basically from a small child into an adult, and unfortunately somewhere in there she does become a part of Trokosi. And it's really, really sad, and there's really many, many moments where, like, especially with Robin Miles, like, girl, like there were moments where my heart was just like, damn, I felt for her. And especially because of the fact that when you realize why she ends up in the shrine versus why she thinks she's in the shrine, like that to me really hit me hard, especially just thinking about my childhood and how many times as a kid you get told not to do something and you do it anyways. And then she thinks she's sent there for the most trivial reason. And even the fact that she is sent there, like by her father, the fact that she is sent there even strikes a chord. It wasn't like she was in a situation where, if I'm thinking about Sharon Draper's Copper Sun, where she was kidnapped and she was taken. She was sent there by her family because this is what they believed they needed to do. But then we have the theme of female oppression and the fact that even at a time of like the 60s, 70s, 80s, in their own land, females were so oppressed. Even if you think about Abeo's mom wanting to, at first, disassociate herself with her husband for what he's done, but then realizing because of how females are so oppressed over there, if she was to become divorced, she'd basically be not useless, but exiled. Like it would just be like almost like a form of exile. Like she would be so ostracized just because of the fact that she divorced her husband, no matter what wrong he did. Like it didn't matter at all. Like at the end of the day, she would be the one who would suffer from the divorce. So even obviously something as literally as putting a bunch of underage girls in a shrine, that kind of female oppression. But then if we take it back to like divorce, she felt like she needed to play along with the charade that everything was okay, just so that they wouldn't get divorced. Like that to me is another level of female oppression that we don't even think about, the fact that as women, there are many things that cause us almost to seem broken over time, which is unfortunate and almost like damaged goods. And that in itself, like that societal mind frame that once a woman has kids, once a woman's been married, all those things are forms of female oppression. But it's more so just interesting to see the dynamic of the two, especially because one's the daughter and one's the mother. Just to kind of wrap up that segment, I definitely have to give Bernice kudos for even just thinking outside of the box and thinking about the fact that this is a story that needs to be told. Because like when I tell you, I had no idea. And even as soon as I started the book, I was like a chapter in when I posted the meaning for Trokosi. I had no idea where the book was going, but I posted that and people were like, oh my gosh, what is this? And I was like, I had no idea, and they had no idea. And I think that that is the most important thing, is that people have no idea that this is going on or that this went on. Well, like it's mind-blowing. I caught myself so many times going like this, rewinding, playing it again, rewinding, and being like, what the heck? I was learning, I was absorbing. The same thing I would do it like in a college classroom. I needed someone to reiterate to me what was actually happening. I also want to talk about the idea of girls being grown. The idea of young Black girls being grown. I want to talk about that really, really quick. We see it with Seraphine when she's younger, and especially once we find out more about her backstory. The fact that she was approached by someone in that manner alludes to the idea of, you know, Black girls being grown. Like, he saw her as a woman. And when you're young, regardless of race, obviously you're going through feelings, you know, your sexuality's changing, you're feeling differently, you're kind of horny all the time. Like, that's just something that's normal. So you don't even think about the fact that when someone that's way older than you approaches you, that it's wrong. Like, you don't even realize that it's wrong. But it's crazy to think that older people and men specifically prey on the fact that they're counting on you to be naive in your body. They're counting on you to be naive in your sexuality. They're counting on that because they don't want you to realize what they're about to get away with. And it makes me think about even the girls from the shrine, because the shrine, I'm not saying it could exist in another form, but I feel like this was the extreme. Like, obviously this is how it happened, but I'm saying if you were a bunch of men and you wanted to make a shrine full of women, why not pick actual women? They picked little girls, and that's what crushed me about it, was that there were, I cannot remember her name, but the one who knew her numbers really well, the one who, well, she was like the baby, like the runt. I can't remember her name right now. But for her, even to be that small, that she's like, I know my number's so great. For her to be that small and in a sex shrine, I was like that's sick. Like, you are sick. Like, to me, I'm not saying, again, a shrine is okay. I'm just saying, like, you have to think about the fact that someone sometime decided that little Black girls were grown-ass women. I don't know who, I don't know why, but that's what they chose for us. And it's unfortunate because they look at someone who's a baby and that's what they decided to do, and that's how they decided to change the course of her life. And it was just like, so heartbreaking, but so good. It's one of those things that it's like, it's a car crash. Like, you're like, this is so terrible, but you just can't look away almost. Like, you just wanna know more about what happened. You wanna know the story. How did you get there? Hopefully you get out. Like, you wanna know everything. That's basically what it is. With little Black girls being grown, I find it so interesting, more so because of the fact that we see it still happening today. So this is a book, but we also see that, I will never forget that Kwazine Wallace clip.
Had you watched Annie as a little girl?
When I heard that they were doing, well, I'm still a little girl.
Well, you seem so grown up to me.
When that grown-ass man of an interviewer asked her, well, did you watch Annie when you were a little girl? And she was like, I am still a little girl. Like, it's almost like this animalistic thing they do. It's the same thing why I think cops kind of see us like animals. It's that whole idea. I'm not justifying it at all. I'm just saying it's almost like that idea, because I don't understand how you can look at someone who's clearly a child, or you can look at an unarmed Black man and be like, you're a threat, you're a grown woman. Like, to me, I don't know what it is, but it's something that is innate, I wanna say, in them. I won't even say it's innate, but I wanna say it's something that is like programmed in them, like something that is taught to them. I don't know. Like, I wish I could say I knew. And then quickly, I wanna close with the idea of Seraphine and the American dream. I found it really, really interesting that even right now, we're seeing that the American dream with everything that is still going on in America right now, the American dream is still being packaged and sold to so many people overseas and to so many people even in America still. I found it so interesting how it was written that we got to see in the beginning Abeo as a child, you know, see her Auntie Seraphine come visit, bring all these things, food, clothing, jewels, take her to have a burger. And then later on, when we learn about Seraphine's actual life in America, being married to a husband she doesn't love, barely making ends meet, living in kind of like, not a grubby apartment, but that's what I got from it. Not the best space either. It wasn't like this lap of luxury, which you would have gotten from seeing her. I think that that's very important to know that a lot of times, and even today, we look at things like social media, we look at things like just how people live, even if they have a nice house, nice car, we have no idea what's happening inside. We have no idea what their relationships are like. We have no idea what their debts are like. We have no idea what kind of people they are. So I think at the end of the day, it's really important that we all take this conscientious step back and realize what we're actually being fed. Because at the end of the day, it's up to the people who have this content and who know what's going on in their lives to sell it to us. Like, it's on them. So we, the people that are eating it, need to be conscientious of what we're putting in our bodies, because I found that crazy. I didn't expect her to be like crazy rich or anything like that, but I expected her to do well for herself, and I definitely didn't expect her to be married to a man she didn't want to be married to. Like, I thought that, like, that was not at all the gist I got from her in the beginning. So to me, it was like, well, Auntie Seraphine, like, you're really selling the American dream. And especially with America having so many Black Lives Matter issues, it's crazy that we still, as a people, put so much money into the white economy that does not support us. So I was really happy when Beyonce actually launched Black Parade, and I'm kind of thinking about doing like a Black Parade haul, get my money right, but like a Black Parade haul, because we need to inject more money into Black people, supporting Black people. Even Bernice, she's very vocal on Twitter about hashtag publishing paid me, and it opened my eyes as someone who's looking to publish something that at the end of the day, I will have to work 3 times as hard just to get half of what they have. So why do I keep spending money to put into their bank accounts to feed them when they will never, ever, 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 ever try to feed me? So I want to leave you with that thought. I really want to reiterate, this is a really good book. I definitely highly recommend the Audible version with Robin Miles. I might have to change the segment on my channel to Nat G Listens. I don't think it has as much of a ring to it, but like, it was that good that I've already downloaded like 2 more Audible books. This book brings up a whole bunch of themes and topics that I could talk about for hours, like any book. I had to write everything down. I was thankful that I wrote everything down because this took long enough. If you did like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. Comment down below if you have any comments, questions, or concerns about anything that I spoke about today. And as always, subscribe to me. It doesn't pay my bills yet, but it could one day. Again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.